Alabama hits the road this weekend for their first SEC road game of the season. The Tide makes a short trip to Starkville to take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Alabama's won 15 in a row over Mississippi State, and the Tide have been dominant during that streak, winning by an average margin of 33-7. Last season in Tuscaloosa, the Tide dominated the Bulldogs. Mississippi State didn't score until the final play of the game as the Tide rolled big 30-6. This season, Mississippi State enters Week 5 2-2. The Bulldogs started the season off 2-0 with a 48-7 win over Southeastern Louisiana and a 31-24 overtime win over Arizona in Week 2.
To the end zone! Touchdown, Mississippi State!
But then Mississippi State ran into a buzzsaw in 14th-ranked LSU in Week 3 as the Tigers blew out the Bulldogs 41-14. Last week, State lost a thriller to South Carolina in Columbia, 37-30.
Pushes to the goal line, touchdown!
Will Rogers returns for his senior season at quarterback to lead the Mississippi State offense. Rogers completed just 11 of 28 passes for 103 yards in the Week 3 loss to LSU, but bounced back this past week with the best passing game of his career against South Carolina. Rogers threw for a career-high 487 yards, the most passing yards by an SEC quarterback this season, and the second most this year in FBS. On the receiving end of 256 of those yards was wideout Tulu Griffin. Griffin set a Mississippi State single-game record with those 256 yards receiving. That's also the best in the SEC this season, and he did it all on just 7 catches, averaging a ridiculous 36.5 yards per reception. The Bulldogs have also been successful on the ground. Running back Joquavius Marks ranked second in the SEC in rushing yards with 352, averaging 88 per game. Marks is also tied for second in the conference with 4 rushing touchdowns. Defensively, the Bulldogs are next to last in the SEC in scoring defense and total defense. Mississippi State is allowing over 27 points per game and over 400 yards per game to their 4 opponents so far this season. However, the leader on the Mississippi State defense is one of the best linebackers in the league. Jet Johnson is in his 6th year as a Bulldog and leads the Southeastern Conference with 45 tackles. One key for the game in Saturday night's matchup will be turnovers. The Bulldogs lead the SEC in turnover margin at +4 as they've taken 7 away on the year, recovering 3 fumbles with 4 interceptions.
You know, this is the first SEC road game, and this is actually a bigger challenge for us than the last 2 games, in my opinion, in terms of, you know, this team is very, physical, very aggressive on defense, create a lot of negative plays. We got a lot of starters back. They know their system, they know their scheme, they play very, very well.
It's going to be a late one in Starkville as the Tide and Bulldogs are scheduled to kick off at 8 p.m. on ESPN. Reporting from the Crimson Tide Production Studio inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, I'm Christopher England with Tide TV.